This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with. Unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson. And his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think Unbiased and On the Fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and On the Fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
This is Dan Holfeld from Talk is Cheap, and you're listening to Unbiased and On the Fence with Shane Robinson.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything, I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Unbiased and On the Fence.
Happy Friday to you guys. We are live all over the world. My buddy Okanim just showed me that we don't even have a number for France, Italy, or Spain, and I had no idea. I never noticed we had so many there. I just didn't run down the list. So if you are in those areas and you are an English speaker, please do join from the website. Try that out. Let me know if it does not work for you. You can join by going to, it's actually down in the description box there, but it is talkshoe.com/show/love stream. And you can join from the internet. So yeah, you learn something every day. There were so many numbers there and so many smaller places. I had no idea they left out quite a few big places. So, yeah, you learn something all the time. So how are you guys doing this Friday evening? Phone lines are open. I'm going to put up the numbers that we do have all over the world. Probably should get the chat off of there so you can read them. And the viewer count. Okay, there are the numbers on the screen. The show ID is going to be the same no matter where you're calling from. 147-7973. Oh, you gotta love those Wingmakers. Love that music. You guys, that's available on YouTube for free. Wingmakers music is all you have to type in there. There are 23 or 24 chambers worth of music, hours of music. And it's supposed to have activation codes. I don't know, but I do like it. I don't know if you guys got to check out the video I just posted. Pamela sent me this sort of event dream vision that she had repeatedly. And so she had wrote it out, and I'm like, hey, you should just record it, send it over, and I'll do what I can with it, and I'll just post it and share it with the group because it sort of fits in line with a lot of other people's information, like Allison Coe's sessions that she has and many others about this wave coming. And so I thought, you know, I'd rather just share it and get it out there because I found it was actually exciting, very exciting. So if it gets your vibes up by watching it, so be it. Maybe that will help this wave come even sooner. I don't know. I hope she's happy with it. I did send her a link to it. Unfortunately, she was describing so many unbelievable things that I'm like, oh, how am I going to show this? And just using, how can you describe the indescribable? But I did my best. I hope it's interesting enough. I put the words on the screen so you can follow along. See what you think of it. But I literally just posted it. Actually, also over on the Mandela Effect Conference YouTube channel. That's IMEC, International Mandela Effect Conference YouTube channel. They've got Kimberly Lynn Hansen's presentation is actually at this very moment getting premiered over there. So I know a lot of people are over there checking that out. You can watch it later though if you want to stay in the chat and hang out here. But it's up to you. I think it's just part one. I think I would prefer to be able to see it all together because it's super long, but it's super important to sort of catch it all together because it's like almost like dominoes getting set up and then knocking them down. So I'm not sure where the cutoff is on it. I haven't seen it yet. It's just now. It's not even reached the end of part one, but wherever it ends, everything happens at the end. So if it's at the break that we took in Ketchum, Idaho, which is probably, I'm thinking that's probably where the cutoff's going to be, then the second half is when everything really falls in line. So you have to wait for it, is what I'm getting at. But Kimberly Lynn Hansen did a wonderful job with that presentation. I've been super excited about it getting out. And she had the last of the presentation, so it was the last to come out. They were released in order of how they were presented at the conference. I do, it's a good time to bring up marking your calendars, you guys, if you would like to come to this year's 2020 Mandela Effect Conference. It's going to be June 5th, 6th, and 7th in Connecticut, New Haven, Connecticut. The exact venue, I think, is still up in the air to be decided on that, but we do know those are the dates, the 5th, 6th, and 7th of June. We do know it's going to be in New Haven, Connecticut. Definitely worth, if you're up in that area. I know there's a lot of people that's probably within driving distance of that. I mean, you wouldn't even have to pay for any kind of lodging or anything if you're within an hour. You could just drive out there every day. Check it out. I know there's a ton of people in that area. When you look at a density map, it's like everybody lives up there. So actually, we were checking it out. It's actually not far from, what is that called? Newtown. Thought maybe for you conspiracy investigators, you could probably head on over there in the daytime and maybe do some investigating. I don't want to say too much or I'll set off the algorithms, but those who are familiar with Newtown will know exactly what I'm talking about. Interesting. I think it's like 40 minutes away. So anyway, let's see. Let me check, see if I got anybody calling in yet. Everybody's shy tonight. Check the chat and see what you guys are doing. Oh, Sherry nailed it. You got it, Sherry. Check in the chat if you want to know what I was referring to. Let's see. Oh, Rita. Poor thing. I'm not that boring, though. You wouldn't fall asleep, I guarantee you that. Just don't fall asleep and ban anybody. Okay. I wouldn't say right next to it, but 40 minutes away. Let's see. What is up, system failure? Let's see. I don't know why it is that every time it seems like you're working on something, like I was working on Pamela's video, and she had a number of issues with getting her recording to me, and then I had a number of issues getting it onto YouTube from start to finish. So I always feel like, you know, you've got more resistance with, I don't know, the better the information, the more resistance you're going to have with getting it out. Just seems like how things work sometimes. All right, I guess we'll go back to some Wingmakers music. Wait for you guys to call in. Once again, that's the Wingmakers music. You can find them on YouTube, free of charge, of course. Plenty of music, hours and hours of great music. That's supposed to be activating. You can decide about that part of it. Also, somebody mentioned, what was it, Streamlink or what was it? I don't have whatever someone asked about Streamlink or something like that, but you can join from either one of the phone numbers in the description box or by going on the web and typing in talkshoe.com/show/love stream. All right, we're going to go to, let me get the name on the screen right here, because we're going to go to our unbiased and on the fence contributor, Sherry, overprotected Sherry. Sherry, are you there?
I'm here. How are you
Yay.
tonight?
Doing great. So, all right, so let me set this up a little bit, because we had the first one in Ketchum, Idaho, which we found out, with the Mandela effect, that Tom Hanks had a place there. And we're like, man, he's in like, I don't know, at least 3 or 4, maybe more of these, 4 now, because, there's quite a few. And then the new movie that just came out, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. So, he lives there. He has a home there anyway. Of course, he was busy doing the film or whatever at the time, so we couldn't get him over to the Mandela Effect conference. But you got to wonder, when it's the town that's called Ketchum, are they going to round us all up or something like that? And then we look at this new place, and you brought to my awareness that it is in New Haven, not far from Newtown, where we had an incident. And what year was that? Because we have to be careful not to say the name of the school.
2012.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So what are you thinking about all this, Sherry?
All right. Well, first off, I'm the one that brought it to everybody's attention that about the being called Ketchum, and I made a little joke like, oh, they're gonna catch us all and get us in there and lock us in, and there's gonna be smoke coming through the vents, and we're all gonna get gas.
Are they gonna gas us?
However,
But nothing like that happened.
No. It was wonderful. In fact, Kimberly Lynn Hansen's presentation, which is premiering now on, I wish they didn't run those two things at the same time, but that's okay. It was so neat to me, because I've had a lot of things like this happen where I've had these magical, miraculous moments and all these signs and synchronicities, and it kind of explains the science behind it and how it was happening. But as things have unfolded, and we've done the holiday video and the wheat and the tares, and what you focus on is what you get, it brings me back to where I came from. And it was when I found the Mandela effect in the beginning, as everybody knows, I started, feeling very, I was kind of scared of it, because there was the Bible changes, and where I was at then, I thought it was the Antichrist and everything, and I went through all of this fear, and now, to sum it all up, I've been led to the proof that what I focus on is what I get. But it's right when you think that you've overcome everything, I had to get slapped in the face with the Ketchum thing, and now this next one is there, and there's so many people. I'm just telling you, it's coming up in the chat room over on the International Mandela Effect Conference site right now, that there's people in there saying that it's a psyop, that everybody is being having their brain controlled and stuff, like the Philadelphia experiment and Looking Glass and all that. And I'm just oh my gosh, it has to come up again for me. And then when I found out where the next conference was, I was just really, it just keeps coming up for me. And I'm telling you, if I went, which I don't think I'm going to be able to go, but I know it would be a beautiful experience and nothing would happen. I had that happen before, like a concert that came right here in my own yard that shouldn't have, that I was scared. I was like, man, I'm telling you, if I go there, I'm going to probably get like, you know. And then it was all perfect and everything. It's like there's these little things put in front of you, but you have to choose how to look at it. Is it going to be fear or is it going to be love? And and it will get, once you get down to where you almost got it figured out, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until you win, you know, and then you'll see that it's all about the love, not the fear. But you can pick either one. Trust me.
Oh, yeah, you can pick either one. And you can actually get to the point where you realize that the fear side of things is not even worth considering. Ankle biters.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's so weird how it does that. It's crazy. And if you focus on it at all, it will start showing up. You have to focus on what you want, and then that'll start showing up. Trust me. I wish I could, if there was a way that I could, you know, tell everybody just, prove it to yourself. Like Kimberly said with the wish washers, if you look for the washers, you will find them. I found 2 the day that y'all had that show and we're talking about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, you really do find what you look for. So that's why, I brought that up at the conference. If you're one of these people that, which, I'm not downing anyone like this, but if this is how you want to think, that Satan is doing these Mandela effect changes, and you really believe that, you're going to look around and you're going to find a bunch of things that support that idea that Satan's doing this. And that's going to be your reality. But, I see this as a very gentle thing. I see that if Satan was going to do that, why wouldn't he make, a train appear and smash into my car, or do something way more violent than changing a logo or making some letters extend or something along this.
You know what it is? It's kind of like a spiritual war in your mind that you have to win on your own. Trust. If there was any way that I could express this to people, it's like now I can look at all these things that are coming up and like kind of laugh at them. They say I laugh in the face of danger because it's like, oh my gosh, look at this. I see where someone could take this. I would have taken this like that before.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
it's valid for somebody that goes there with it. You know what I mean? It's like that becomes their world, and they focus on that, and then they're going to find all the supporting stuff that goes right along with that line of thinking and everything. So I totally agree with you. But I think you're totally right. It's all within us. And, I've even got YouTubers I enjoy watching and stuff, but, they're pointing outside to a different location, for the Messiah to return, or this location for the Antichrist to return. I'm like, dude, it's all within. It is really all within your mind. Are you going to have the spirit of Antichrist? Are you going to be your own savior and realize that the kingdom of God is within? And, they're saying that the Messiah is going to appear in the desert. And I'm like, Jesus even warned us, hey, if they come out and say the Messiah is out here in the desert, don't believe them. He said that specific thing, yet there's people that actually are pushing this idea that he's going to show up in a desert somewhere and things like that. But all of that is to direct us away from ourselves. It's all within. Our reality is created within.
Yeah, and it's amazing that, when you can really grasp onto that and see the miracle that will unfold, it's unbelievable. I can't even describe it because it's like the universe will talk to you in the physical reality,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you dip your toe even into the fear aspect of it, it'll talk back to you like that too. And you have to train yourself basically to do it to others. Luckily I've had guidance, and that is like from you and Eileen and all of the people affiliated with this channel. Like, I seriously really do thank all of you, because it basically, saves me from like going crazy, because I really, I had my whole foot in the other, dipped in the other spot.
It'll pull you in too, you know. It'll pull you in, and then you're living in this fearful place.
If you can look back at the Michael Jackson video that I did with you and Darby, it's like I remember saying, you know, like that there was so much stuff making me think to be fearful of the Mandela effect, but something in my gut told me that it was not bad, and I've learned then to really follow those those gut instincts, because they're always going to be right, you know. But I just had to laugh when I found out where this next conference is. I was like, this is hilarious because you know what? One thing, I have a story. I was driving to the Monroe Institute. I was driving by myself, and I was enjoying my trip. It was like a 16-hour drive. And Surrey, and it's funny because on the way back it didn't happen, but Surrey took me kind of like off the interstate, and I was just going through this town, and all of a sudden it said, "You are now entering Cape Fear." And I was just like, oh my goodness. I already had the creeps because I was kind of like not seeing anything anywhere, and my tank was like, you know, the light had came on and all this, and then she has me go onto a street that like goes into a subdivision, and these roads were like Hackett and then Hatchet, and then there was something about like I can't remember something.
Somebody
about
had
like
a sense of
niece
humor
or
there when they
something.
were. That's funny.
Yeah, and then it was like, and then I like get out of there and everything, kind of, you know, out of the subdivision, and I'm on this road again, and I went over this hill, and all of a sudden I saw like a little exit and a gas station right there, and as I took the exit, I saw this huge white feather. It was like a foot long, and it was like, you know, sweeping back and forth in the wind, and it like went right over my windshield where I was driving at. And I felt my dad, and, you know, because he's deceased, and it was like he was laughing, and he was just basically telling me, you know, oh, I'm going to cry, like, that things aren't always what they seem, you know, and that you're always okay, but you can really play them up in your mind. Like, you know, I was just like sure that I was going to run out of gas and be murdered on Hatchet Street in Cape Fear, you know.
That's hilarious. And then your gas light goes on there, and you're kind of forced to stop, and that's just, it's hilarious. And that's the universe talking to you, you know. And I see this happening all the time. I tell Micah in Finland, he sends me stuff all the time, and it's so synchronistic so many times, you know. He has no idea. He's just sort of sending me stuff. But it'd be totally synchronistic with conversations I have going on in other emails and with other people. And the universe is always, God, whatever you feel comfortable calling it, is always communicating with us. And you don't really see it if you don't stay in the now to recognize it. But for a lot of people that are really in tune to this and they see it happening, they can think everyone's psychic spies or something, you know, like, how do they know that? Why would they just send that to me? But you'll notice that you get it from people that you live with and things like that as well.
I told you that's happened to me in my chat room. I can tell you, because she won't mind me mentioning it, because we've talked about it, and last since that has happened to me with Susan from By Design, you know.
By Design,
Susan,
she's in the chat right now.
I mean, so scared of Susan for like a minute, because she had just made a comment on one of my videos. She didn't understand. She didn't, you know, like get how it freaked me out, because I had made a video with like some sunglasses on or something, and then later on I'd got some brand new sunglasses like in the mail, and the next day I'd had a scary Mandela effect thing happen, well, something that just shocked me, and I made a video about it, and I was crying and everything, and she comes under there and says, why aren't you wearing your cool new sunglasses? Well, she didn't know that I had just got some in the mail the day before, and I was just like, you know, oh my God, this person is like a psychic spy. And, you know, like, I mean, because I didn't know who she was at the time, you know, like, I was so freaked out. Let me tell you. But I've had so much stuff like that happen, you know, but I can, it's so funny when you can look at it now. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that it is really important. But see, though, I was going to say to say really kind things to people so that they don't get afraid. But look, I got afraid from something that she was saying that was very nice. You know, like, she didn't know that I was, like, upset in the video either until later. She had just turned it on for a second and then went back to it later. So, I mean, there was, like, all this explanations to it, but it came across to me as really trippy at first.
Right.
You know?
She's saying she felt bad about it, too, by the way. She felt bad after the fact. But she had no idea when it was happening, you know. She's just making a quick comment. But, you know, that's a perfect example, though, how the universe speak to you through people, and it will help bring this stuff to the surface so you can deal with it, you know?
That's what it's like, all like little lessons or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, and what upsets me so much is that right now Darby's going through this exact same thing that I went through.
Your daughter. Mm-hmm.
And even though I try to tell her, you know, she's still like, okay, I'll just bring it up. Like the video that, or the email that Micah had sent with the holiday thing right after the holiday video, after Darby had sang holiday for the birthday surprise for her boss, you know, or whatever, boss's friend. And she was just like, I don't like that. That's not normal, you know. Shane needs to be careful and all this stuff. And I'm just like, Darby, I'm telling you, you're going through exactly what I'm going through, you know, what I went through. And, you know, it's just something everybody has to go through on their own, I guess. But I will tell you this. I think that the more knowledge and stuff that you have on things like this, it almost like it wants to teach you on a higher level. You know, so like you're going to have like, you know, astral experiences that'll like fit in with physical reality, and it just gets even deeper and more. All I can say is bring up, you know, and I know you know what I'm going to say, that graph that Vanessa VA made. I really hope she knows how much I think that it's important. I think she should write a whole book on just that graph, because at the bottom of it, it had like the unaffected people, and then as you move up, like the next area was the Mandela affected people, and then there was this let's see, I don't want to say it,
like targeted individuals and victim type mentality people.
And horror, that was like the next level up. And then it goes into like, you know, this 4D area where you're picking up like on different, you know, energies and sensing things or whatever. And then it goes up into like, you know, the 5D and then heaven on earth. And I think that it's like a process, and it's something that you have to work through on your own. And it's all about learning what you said, to focus on like the wheat instead of the tares. And it kind of all comes to us in a group as a little puzzle, well, at least for me. And it's just so cool that y'all have that puzzle piece on your book. And I noticed even Moneybags had made a banner up on, I don't even know if he knows there's a puzzle piece on y'all's book, but there's puzzle pieces on it, and that's really what it is. You know, it's like a process that everybody goes through, and I think some people get hit harder than others, you know, for some reason, to where it's like terrifying. It's been a neat adventure, though, I have to say.
It's a fun adventure, and I'm so glad I was able to move through that fearful targeted individual stage, because I definitely moved through there fairly quickly, like, I don't know, maybe a week or two tops. And but
so funny because you've done everything expedited like that.
Shout out to
Not
System
fair.
Failure.
Like I said,
I am actually, I just saw your comment. I'm busy on Sundays. That's family day for me, but maybe we can definitely catch up another time. I love the topic of the Bible. I don't really like debating it. If someone wants to believe that it's Satan doing the changes or whatever, I'm totally fine with that. I have no problem with whatever anybody believes. I just I like to get people to consider other ideas, but whether they believe it or not, that's totally up to them. But back to the whole negative stage that we can move through. I'd say the thing that helped me the most with that is to look back over my life and see all of everything I went through and find the purpose in it and realize that nothing was accidental, to realize that nothing was random, that everything served a purpose, a higher purpose, and it all was catalyst to move me into higher awareness, greater awareness. And once you can look back at your life and you see all of that, then it helps you moving forward to realize someday I'm going to look back at this and realize that this helped me learn this or this, and it's like, so whatever comes my way, I know that it's very much serving a purpose. It's not there by random chance or accidental. And I don't think anything's accidental, because I believe what we're in is like a consciousness simulation reality. I feel like it's a game or a classroom, or like my guest Paul said yesterday, it's like purgatory. It's to purge these things out that you need to deal with. And the more awareness you have about that, the quicker you can actually, think about it. If you get if they set a math test in front of you in school and you spend a lot of time just trying to figure out why they put it there instead of getting to work on it, you're not going to complete it very fast. But as soon as you realize, like, oh, here's the test, this is here for a purpose, let's get to it, you can move through it and move on to the next test that's going to get set down before you. So really, it's like having that awareness that nothing's accidental or random or by chance helps you move through it a lot quicker, because people will see things coming up over and over and over again. Like, why is this coming up again? Why is this coming up again? But they're not really dealing with it, It's like they kind of throw the math test off on the floor and another one's set in front of them, and they throw it off on the floor and another one's set in front of them. And pretty soon they have all these math tests that they've never really looked at and completed, and they've got a pile of them, and they're wondering why they keep getting set down in front of them. But as soon as you do that math test and you work your way through it, then you get your history exam that gets set for you, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? But if you have something that keeps coming up in your life over and over again, I would say take a nice hard look at it, because it's coming up for a reason. It's not accidental by any means.
That reminds me of what would you say that little saying in your fortune cookie said, like, to see is to know or something, and then to experience is to know. I don't remember, but it was exactly like that.
Yeah. I hear, it was cryptic. That's why I wanted to see if you could figure it out. It was like, I hear, I forget. I see, I remember. I do, and I know. Or something like that. Something like that. It was very cryptic. It wasn't the typical, you're the light in someone's life, or, good things, you have good fortune coming your way. It wasn't like that. It wasn't vague. It was
like that. Like whenever I was young and I got in a fight with my boyfriend, and we were in a Chinese restaurant, and we weren't talking, and he opens up his fortune cookie and he says, "You long to live in a pyramid in Egypt."
Wait. He said what?
It said, he just goes, "You long to live in a pyramid in Egypt." I bet at that moment he probably did.
That's pretty random.
Funny, you had to be there, but.
Oh, let's see. I was looking at the chat here. Pamela here. Yes, I just saw your email. Oh, no problem. I'm so happy I could do my part, and I think that's what we're all working here together. So thank you, Pamela, for sending me that and giving me the opportunity to put that in a video and share it with everybody. Really, I thank you very much.
A beautiful.
Did you get to catch that yet? And she got it several times.
I did. That was a beautiful, beautiful vision. I loved your God voice. It was awesome.
Yeah, just a little reverb goes a long way. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sherry. Thanks for calling in and breaking the ice. Looks like I got somebody calling in from Colorado, maybe.
All right. You guys have a good one. Love all y'all. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Alrighty, let's go back to the phone line. 720 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Shane, it's Roger Prescott.
Roger, what is up, buddy?
Not much. How are you?
Oh, doing great, man. It's always good to talk to you. So what's going on in,
we have
in the Colorado area there?
Well, I finally got up to the mountains and saw Anthony Suso.
Oh,
he
good.
was fantastic to hang out with. For first Mandela person I've met in person of the 3-4 years that we've been going through this. So that was kind of cool. I was unable to get together at Ketchum or the different places that you've been able to hook up with other people as well. But it was great to see him. I was hoping somehow, some way, it would change my life, but it didn't. But it was great to see him. He allowed me to talk for 5 or 10 minutes about the blessings and how love and so on and so forth, and that was real kind of him. So he put that on one of the tapes and gave me a book and autographed it, and it was just very cool to be able to see him. So that was one thing I've done. It was roughly about 2 months ago.
Oh, that's cool. Suso's he's a really cool guy, man.
He is.
Got a really nice heart to him. So love Suso.
He does. Yeah. He's very cool. The only crazy new thing I have as far as the phenomena that is just through the roof is as crazy as all other things I've shared with you, but very unique and very different. Shane, I thought I'd share it with you. I was calling in because no one was calling in. I thought, well, you're courteous enough and gracious enough to have this program for all of us to call in on, and I listen as much as I can. I'm working 2 jobs now, almost full time, so I'm really exhausted most of the time. But I'm taking a few minutes off of my work right now, just to be able to call in and say thank you, because it's you're a blessing in many ways. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Yeah, honored to do it. Yeah, I think a lot of people just like to hang out in the chat. That's why I just put music on or something like that. And I do want to mention that you've been exposed to this Mandela effect probably longer than just about anybody I know. I know one of your very first videos, I was able to glean quite a few of the Mandela effects that I used in the top 50 or the 50 Mandela effects compilation video I did. A lot of those came from your video, so I appreciate all the work you did with that and being one of the pioneers in this whole thing. Was it 2015 that you were first exposed to it?
Oh, honestly, seriously, I know it's been so many years. The Mandela was secondary. It was September 23rd of 2012 when I was hit by this energy that let me quit my job, pull all the money out of 401k, and just and live for a year trying to figure out what was going on. So I don't even remember the years. These years have been going, it just seems like a large portion of my life has all been involved in this at this point. But that'd be, pretty close. I would guess about 3.5 years now that it's been going on. I don't know even, that's for sure. But because, it was funny. I was on several Facebook pages for several years of people that weren't Mandela affected, but felt as if there was something going on, kind of thing. And when the Dr. Emoto's work, as I've probably shared with you several times, but when one of his water molecules, crystals, if you will, morphed in front of me and changed in front of me. And I think Sherry, a blessing also, if I may throw in 2 cents there. She's a beautiful person as well. But it had, the guy on the Facebook page said something like, Roger, do you remember when things were just changing letters and words and such, and now you've got, this dynamics going on where photos are changing, right before your very eyes and such. So it really, within 3 or 4 months after being Mandela affected, I found the light or effect that has been taking place. Mm-hmm. And, with that being said, well, anyways, this new phenomena is just fantastic. So I was at a lake maybe 6 to 8 months ago. I can't even remember anymore. Like I said, time's very difficult for me because I work so much and so on and so forth, and meditate every chance I get. But where was I going with that? Lost my train of thought. But so I
From
was
the
by a
Emoto?
lake, and
okay, go ahead.
yeah, Dr. Emoto, his work is very important to me because I think the message that I was being shown and continuing to be shown is that water is being affected, and that is how many things are changing, because the water, no different than photosynthesis, is what I would refer to it as. Photosynthesis, it's just light and water, and somehow you get a chlorophyll or photosynthesis that takes place. And I really think the light coming in from from the atmosphere, or from the sun, or whatever, solar, whatever it is. I think that is the bottom line. And so the water is affecting our DNA via the light and the blessings, in my opinion, of God and of the Christ. And so I think that's why you're seeing these huge changes, and that it would include plant life. That includes these new phenomena of different animals and different plants, and then the earth itself changing, so on and so forth. I think this has a lot to do with the water. But with that being said, so I was meditating 6, 7, 8 months ago, and in a lightning storm was a pretty far distance away from me. And as I was meditating for 10 minutes or so, usually things happen pretty quick for me, lightning hit the top of the water and created a huge base, and it shook the car and shook, all these cars in the parking lot, and myself that was in the car. It vibrated all the way through me, and you could just feel the vibration. So a very cool effect. I'm sure lightning has hit water before, and people have experienced that before. However, with that being said, every now and then I'll pull by a lake of some type, or a small pond or something of that nature, and I'll do some meditation and I'll film. And my recent one, roughly a month and a half now, it was very, very cool. I had a bunch of geese. There are a lot of geese at this time of the year in Colorado, migrating, I suspect. And so there's this water with the light, sunlight, kind of going in around 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon. But it was rippling, the light reflecting as and sparkling across the water, from a light wave or wind that was blowing. And it was very, very cool. So the first set of geese take off, and and that's another weird thing that happens to me a lot. Birds will fly in either above me, in front of me, as the side of me, but always the shadow will go right across me and across the car, or if I'm walking, it'll go across. So I find birds to be very unique and very unusual, whatever that message is that's trying to be sent to me. However, so they flew above me, and sure enough, the aperture of the lens was blinking back and forth because it gave me a shadow for a moment. And then the second flight, and meanwhile, I'm meditating, looking at this shimmering water, and the light and the water. I thought, this is perfect, and this looks really good. And so the second set of birds, geese, 15 or so, they all get up and they fly across me as well. But as the last bird was leaving the frame, this unbelievably crazy fast, what looked like a bird, flew in a different direction and went into the woods. So I've got like 3 frames and where I was able to capture this very fast moving object. And then about 10, 20 seconds later, it came closer, almost like it circled around and came back for a fraction of a second. So I got to send you that just so you can look at it, and maybe not have me on for a show or anything like that, but it is very unique. I've got a lot of unique photos and videos, but this one here, it's exceptional. And so when you freeze frame these particular shots that I have, it looks like kind of like a triangle, I guess. And again, you'll see it, not to go into too much depth, but then it has a tether, almost like just a string hanging from, coming from the back end as it's flying through. And My interpretation, I really have very little guidance other than your show and many other people I've mentioned, Sancho Spinacci and just different people that I watch and listen and try to get an idea of the astro and different idea of what's going on. But honestly, I think what's happening here is that, or this particular video, what it's showing is that I was working as basically an antenna off the top of the water and the light, and this creature or whatever it is it was almost, as I said, like an antenna, and it was drawn to it, and it flew above the lake or the pond and flew by and then came back, as I stated, and just probably have 5 or 6 still frames between the first thing of it and the second coming back of it, all within a minute or two after I started filming. And it reminds me of, I guess my assessment so far would be that these are what could be seen as angels, if you will. And it's very odd because there's always 2 of them, but one is very, very faint, and I almost think that's the one in charge or something, and the other ones are flying from it. So anyways, I guess you almost have to see it to understand what I'm sharing with you. But it's like my grandson that you had seen that wolf type of thing and hit him on the leg or bit him on the leg or something like that. So it's as weird and as odd as that is as well. But I think, my meditation, I meditate almost every day in regards to, I do every day, but I post something too, and I've got like 200 videos now, and I've got 1 viewer, and that's not important other than it seems to be helping Jamie Firestone that watches my video, and she says many beautiful things and speaks of her own life to me. So it's the only relationship, if you will, that I have from all these videos I put up. Eileen is very good. Every now and then she'll jump in, and Jose, if I'm saying her name right, Jose from Canada that you have on, she also will comment every now and then. So I don't need a lot of followers. I just didn't have enough memory on my computers and my phone and so on and so forth, so I upload them. But it clearly shows that there's some kind of ether, some kind of connection with the light, and I almost feel as if these things that are flying in the air that I happened to videotape a month ago are some type of connection. So it's very exciting, but I'm very tired and wish the whole darn thing was over with, quite frankly. I really wish that we would all be blessed, because I only have 1 prayer, and I only have and Sancho Spinacci really educated me on the Lord's Prayer. And honestly, it's almost 99% of what I do is just say the Lord's Prayer with the love and the intent of the Christ of Jesus, is really where that, and how quickly things seem to change in the room and the colors and different things. But, you can't convince everybody that that's what's going on. And I guess I'm not really trying to convince anybody, but I think we all have this power, and again, my 1 prayer is that everyone's water within them and the planet itself and everything on the planet is blessed. And when you get back to Emoto's work that we began discussing earlier in this conversation, what I did, there's proof out there that what I'm doing could very well take place. And the Mandela effect, I really think, is trying to teach us that you can change history. And we have capabilities beyond belief, and that's where I think one of your first shows that you had me on, or I called in on, I said, I honestly think there'll be 8 billion Jesus Christs walking around on the streets, or on this planet, and I still have that intent and still have that understanding that is exactly what is going to occur, and it could happen in a blink of an eye, if you will. And so I wake up every day hoping that everyone has been blessed and everybody is in a loving means, including the most evil people on this planet. And as I describe to people I meet throughout the day, I honestly believe there's no revenge or rapture or in regards to that people will be damned to hell and so on. So I think they'll be blessed with the Holy Spirit, and they walk around as you and I do today thinking, why are people so mean? And they'll be like, why is everyone so loving? So they're going to have to adapt and adjust, but that'll be their hell, if you will, until they heal and understand that this is the way, and that is to be loving. So
you can actually see that sort of coming about now with, with the energy shifting so much. I think it's gonna become more and more uncomfortable for, the non-loving, hateful people, if you will. While the more loving people are gonna acclimate to the energies better. It's gonna feel better to them. They're gonna be able to adjust to it. So, I think we could live in the same environment, and for one person it's a hell, and for another it's a heaven. And I think, it's already like that. I mean, I know people that walk around feeling like they're in hell right now, so. And the people are in the chat are asking, Sherry and April are asking your channel name. Is it just Roger Prescott?
It is, yeah. And
it's Roger Prescott, but I'll ask you to share that link that you were just talking about to that video, and then people will be able to just click that link and go over and watch the video you were just talking about, and then subscribe when they get there. That'll be cool, because I want to see it too.
Yeah, no, it's very, very fucking crazy. It is. It really is. And the thing is that I've shown a few people at work, and the thing is I'll tell you that recently, about 3.5 months now, I've been an Uber driver as my second job, and I share different thoughts and different things. Once in a while, I'll share a video, this, that, and the other thing. It's rare, but and I drive people to the airport. And one woman from Colombia said, I never thought that it's kind of comical that an Uber driver would be the most inspirational person I've ever met in regards to spiritual and understanding and so on and so forth. So for me, the second job is difficult, but at the same time, I'm able to. I can't talk to my family and friends and so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, I've pretty much lost everybody, and that's what Sherry was just talking about as well, that it seems like you have to do this alone, and I'm not certain why that is. Every once in a while I'll share with somebody saying that Jesus Christ had a few followers, for crying out loud, and not to say that I am him by any means, but I feel like, why do I have to be so alone and isolated? And aside from your speaking to you and maybe one or two other YouTube channels one other time, there really is no one to share the blessings that I feel that are taking place. But it's funny, because I always wrap it up with everybody, and that is, get excited, because we are looking at nothing but a loving harmony with the nature. The world is going to change, and I'm very, very excited for everyone. And for me, it's changed, but it's a lonely process. And again, I thought, I'll go up and see Anthony and see if I feel any different. But you don't. And and I suspect Sherry and yourself, or to a certain extent, you're still doing this a lot alone. And it's just got to be that way. I just don't quite understand why. You can show different things to people or talk to people, and it makes a lot of sense, but then they want to move on to their 401k plan, and let's take a look at what we got for retirement. And I'm like, oh my God. So I can't seem to get through to anybody in regards to, to what I believe to be true. And, I think what I'm doing, though, and I have many, many examples, and I will say about a week and a half ago, I had the first example, and I could put this one up. Well, actually, I did, and I don't think YouTube was able to capture it. When I do the upload, it downgrades my videos considerably. But with that being said, I have been flashed with a white light, and I think that flash could be part of the blessings of the waters within me. And I do anticipate that, or possibly expect that when my waters are completely blessed, then just like the monocle on the Monopoly board, if one changes, they all change. So that is my intention, my hope, that I can not only change the waters within me, but then provides me the ether to expel this the Holy Spirit onto the entire planet, if you will. So sounds a little crazy. And then one last thing that's really important is I've been doing this for years now, and I have brought it up on your show, I think, before, but Comet Honda has a 7-year cycle or orbit from Earth all the way out to Jupiter, and then when it passes the Jupiter orbit, it repasses it immediately, and then comes back to Earth. And I know I have spoken about this redirecting of the energy, that as you phrased it, and could very well be, but so this comet I keep an eye on, and I do. It's odd. I didn't know what its orbit was, honestly. And then, but I watch a NASA has a real time where it's located and so on and so forth. So, but it has crossed the Jupiter orbit and is now just getting past the back into the other side of the orbit of Jupiter, and I really think that Jupiter has a lot of power on the astro thought process if you're there, and I for some reason feel as if this comet hasn't forgotten where its tail is, and I think it's right here on the planet Earth. So I kind of work with that realm and that thought process, but as I sum that up and maybe sum up my call, because I talk a lot, but I did want to say that you start talking to people in at a store that I work at, or on an Uber job, or some stranger or something, and they feel very intrigued and like I'm very enlightened. But then if you bring up too much, like comets and energy of that nature, and ancient Greek messages being sent to me, and so on and so forth, then I sound like I'm off the hook kind of stuff. So it's weird. It's almost a balance where you can interject or inform them and enlighten them to a certain extent, but then after that you just sound completely fucking crazy. And I even think in our group, in the Mandela group, I sound like I'm way the fuck out there. There's something wrong with me, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me, man. I can show you. I'm like, well, no, it's interesting. I don't know what that is. Okay. So I don't know what to do, but it's very frustrating. It's been 7.5 years for me since the September 23rd, 2012, and I spent 2 or 3 years, unlike a lot of people, not having a clue what's going on. I just said, there's something wrong, I don't know, something wrong, and they're like, yeah, there's something wrong with you, I guess would be their assessment. But
now you're realizing there's something right, right?
No, I know what I'm talking about. I just don't. The problem is that everyone, and including myself. So when is this happening? When is this blink of the eye of God or changing? When? I don't know. When? Might be another 7 years. I hope not. But So. But last year on January 3rd, I had cancer removed, and it hasn't come back, although I got to be honest with you, I just don't want to get into the hamster wheel and get in and be scoped every 3 months. But there were certain effects that I should be able to recognize, and it's so far so good. Also, in one of my last videos I put together, I unfortunately then 3 months later decided to have all my teeth removed. I wanted to have all my teeth removed 8 years ago, because I learned about root canals and mercury and all this different things, and I thought, well, half my mouth is nothing but root canals. I have a good smile and all my teeth, but they're not mine. So I finally got all that toxicity out, and it's been almost a year since I've had those removed. And although it's somewhat embarrassing to a certain extent, I think it was the reason. If you ever look into someone who's very intelligent, Jerry Tennant, he is a doctor that works out of Texas and a homeopathic license in Arizona. He swears every patient that comes into his office, whether it be cancer or anything else, 70% of his clients, it has everything to do with the tooth. They remove the tooth and they're healed. So there's a lot to be said about the electrical connection through the teeth to different organs. So he's got each tooth labeled out. And as a matter of fact, my daughter went to the dentist. She's 27, and she went to the dentist the other day, and she goes, yeah, there's something on the wall that shows each tooth is tied to different organs or different connections of the body. And so Dr. Jerry Tennant is very, very smart, and I honestly think that the cancer was brought on by this situation, and I feel as if I've been able to resolve it doing a pretty dramatic move, but to have that done. But I feel anyway. So it's very, very important stuff. Jerry Tennant is a fantastic and smart guy. He also works in a little bit in the spiritual realm. He works also and believes of tuning forks being used to heal people. So different dynamics than maybe something like a Greg Braden, if I'm saying that right, where they're using Reiki kind of energy type of thing.
Yeah.
I did have Reiki work done for the very first time about 3 months ago, hoping maybe something would come of it, and not so much. But one guy has been a friend of mine, flies in. He said, "Oh my God, you went to a Reiki work. Did she get shocked?" Because he always sees that my videos are kind of creating electrical type of connection. So it was kind of humorous, I guess, and I thought I'd throw that in. But that's an update for myself. Other than I love the conference that you guys put together. I thought it was fantastic. I've watched the videos, and very enlightening. And very still brings a lot of hope for me and to me in regards to that maybe this will happen soon for us all. But this hell that we live in, and people say, oh, the world's not that bad, and it's not a bad. I'm like, oh my God, wake up! There's a lot of victims out there, and, including you and me and everything else. This whole money thing is a horrible, horrible situation for most of the world, right? And I chatted for a little while. Yeah,
it's got to be tough, though. I mean, that's where the challenge and fun comes in, Let me ask you this, though.
Sure.
The doctor you were just talking about, is he in that movie Root Cause, where they talk about root canals being connected with stuff? It's a 2018 documentary. Or have you seen that movie?
To the best of my knowledge, I've heard of it. I can't remember if I've seen it or not. I don't watch too much anymore, but I've watched Root Cause. I thought was initially a book, but it was about, and so I don't know. But the where I learned about it 8 years ago was, and I went to a dentist. He said, "Your teeth are perfect. I won't do anything with them. I won't touch them. They are absolutely perfect." And whoever's been doing the work or has done the work over the years, they've done a fantastic job, so I won't touch them. So, Root Cause sounds familiar of a book but it was a gentleman that put in 20,000 implants from human cadavers that died of cancer, died of this, died of that. He put the same the tooth into the animal, just into their tissue, and cut them open. A cow, a pig, he had all kinds of animals and such, and they would die of the same thing. So there was toxins within that. So no, I'm not real familiar with root cause, but Jerry Tennant, he does more. He works with acupuncture. He works with the fascia. He works with all the different systems within the body. And this guy is very, very bright, and I highly recommend it. He's only got one book out. It's online. I got it for free. I don't know if it's still free or not, but through Amazon, I think it was. But I think it's either Voltage, because it's been
Healing is Voltage?
a year and a half. Yeah, exactly.
Healing is
Shane.
Voltage,
Mm-hmm.
the handbook. Yeah, I found him here.
Yeah.
Jerry Tennant with two
Oh my
N's.
goodness.
Yeah.
This guy is so smart and so ahead of his time. But I love the idea that he starts to bring in some of the spiritual work. But he healed himself by going to Mexico, pulling a tooth, and he was bedridden for years and couldn't. It was just a horrible situation for him. And he was a doctor and failing very quickly and very fast. And he went down to a cell level to understand how the body works. So highly recommend that book there. Of course, the Gerson therapy, huge success 100 years ago to deal with cancer and any other illness that you may have, and I've practiced that as well. So Gerson therapy, as far as mainstream information, and Dr. Jerry Tennant, Voltage's Healing, too, highly recommended. And I can't say enough about, and I shared on my last call with you, Sancho Spinacci. He really has me in the astro. I swear to God, Shane, I honestly feel as if that each cell in your body, which let's go with 6 trillion cells in your body are a replication of the star system that we see in the Milky Way galaxy. And that's pretty much how he lays it out, that you are part of the Milky Way galaxy, starting in a constellation of the Pisces and moving through to Aquarius and so on and so forth. And he shows each part of your body being part of the cosmos or part of the galaxy. And when I go into meditation, I honestly believe, and someone remarked actually on your show one time when you were showing one of my videos, that I had stardust coming from my hand, or no, I'm sorry, God's glitter is how they refer to it, because I had like the glitter coming from my hand. And, you know, we all had, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and my hat's off to, I believe it's Craig Scott. I never knew, the light warrior that has been on your show several years ago as well. He's one of the very few people that contacted me on the phone, talked to me a few different times, but where was I going with that? God's glitter. But so I honestly think that how I see myself is lying when I'm in meditation, and in minutes I see myself lying there in the galaxy with all these different constellations and working the water from the feet or the sole of the feet and straight up through the body. And I believe that how I envision myself is I'm breathing stardust from my mouth in the constellations. And so and I see the stardust blessing the waters within the galaxy, which in my opinion is why the universe is involved here, because when the Milky Way galaxy is lighting up like a golden stardust effect, it will affect other galaxies nearby. So yeah, I don't know. I'm way out there, but I'm so convinced that I'm right, that and this will happen, and what I'm doing is changing the world, but in different ways, you know, down to a DNA level. And I don't know if I can walk around with a different DNA or have the junk DNA all be activated and nothing happen to anyone else. And that's where I believe, no, the Mandela is teaching you, once it happens to one thing, it happens across the board. So again, I conclude with, I'm very excited for all of us. I'm just so exhausted, and I just wish after 7.5 years. But you know, the Comet Honda, as well as the spring equinox, I do think that these time frames of when I was hit in September of the fall or autumn equinox, if I have this correct, the changes and the energy that came from Comet Honda was on the equinox time frame of several years ago, 3.5 years ago. So yeah, so I'm really thinking that we would probably see dramatic changes, and possibly as early as this March. Now, it's funny, Anthony Suso said, do you still think it's going to be like a flash, or do you think it's going to be a gradual thing? And honestly, I put my money down on it's going to be a flash. I mean, I've seen this gradual thing occur, but I really think it is the blink of the eye of God that it'll happen instantaneously. But that's my expectations. But that was one of his questions. But
yeah, I think it's
so I'm thinking a lot of
both. You know, we probably got.
Yeah.
It's probably like rungs on the ladder of this gradual thing, but, you know, we've probably got these big leaps up, I would think, you know. Before you go, I wanted to get the name. You said Santos, for the people watching. Santos, what was the last name?
Bonacci. But his YouTube channel, you looked up last time, I think, when I was on the call, it's Mr. Astro Theology. The guy is through the roof. He really knows what he's talking about, and he's been affected by the Morgellons, and I feel terrible for him, because I studied Morgellons roughly 6-7 years ago, and it's a terrible situation, and but yeah, Santos Bonacci, Mr. Astro Theology, fantastic YouTube channel. It's been up for 9 years. The guy is very, very well educated, and he does have that. He sells things on his website. I don't know if he gets much business, quite frankly, but he's got some great material that you could purchase, and including that Milky Way galaxy and how each one of the constellations lay out on it, and how he sees this within the human body, and we are one in regards to the Milky Way galaxy, and we can transform it.
I remember this guy.
That's my plan.
Yeah, Mr.
He's
Astrotheology.
fantastic. Yeah. I really, really like him. I'd heavily endorse him. He's got, if not 80%, 100% right. And the difference is, I was sharing with somebody at work today, the difference is that Sancho's read a lot of books and was very well studied and came a long, long ways, where mine appears that he seems to have provided me confirmation of things that I already knew, but I didn't know them from reading anything. I knew them from downloads or something. I just know. I'm like, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I knew that, and I don't even know where I know this information. But but
I get that too.
Again, it's a download. Do you?
Yeah, that, and I think that's sort of what people are. At least some people mean when they say, "Oh, I really resonate with that," because they know, and I've had that with quite a few of the things that's come out on Cosmic Agency. Not everything, but I've had quite a few things where I'm like, oh my gosh, I just knew that for some, so it was a confirmation. But, it's hard to find any kind of source that's 100%, for me anyway, it's always something in there.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of the wheat and the tares, it's, you got to have a little bit of the mixture there.
Yeah. And, I was going to add to that, though, as far as, I was at work like a month ago, and I shared with people at work. I said, you first have a belief. I said, then, and this is nothing, so anyways, through the roof. But I said, I had a belief about something. Like, I believed that something was different, and I couldn't tell my sister, my daughter, my sister, my brother, or anyone. I just said, something has changed. I don't know what it is. And I went around for 3.5 years. So I cried wolf to a certain extent. And now when I have proof and such, it's like, oh, yeah, Mr. Wolf, I'm crying wolf over there again. Yeah, we've heard it, Well, I had no proof back then, and I think I've shared that with you before, but any kind of proof whatsoever. But, shoot, I lost my train of thought there. So I was telling people at work, I said, first you have a belief, and then I said, then you have a knowing, that you know of this belief to be real and true. I said, but the third step is the hardest step, and that is really where you're at and where I'm at, to a certain extent, and that is faith. Faith comes after. For me, I still have faith that it'll happen tomorrow, the blink of the eye, or a slow going, whatever it might be, kind of thing. But it's more than knowing, and it's more than a belief. Now it all resides on, if you know what you know, then you're just waiting, you're waiting the time, and you have the faith that it will occur. So, and that, again, that's nothing profound, I guess, but for me, that's very, very important to keep in mind, that you know what you're talking about, and whatever. I know what I'm talking about. And I know what I'm doing. But you would expect it to have developed by now with the hours and the days and the years I've got involved. But it's just not there for everyone as of yet. But
but they're getting there.
Hope
we got to go out on the skinny branches first before everybody else is willing to go out there. So
that branch, and I got to share, these near-death experiences too. I can't help but to share that I was, and I think I may have already, but I was ice skating at the age of 11 and fell through the ice and was all alone at a midnight hour. And there was no way I was going to be able to. And the only thing that was sticking up above the freezing cold water and the ice was my chin and my eyes. I just had that little part sticking up, and out of nowhere, I had the strength to pull myself out. And it's beyond. And this is this is 40 years ago, or 50 years ago. Still remember like it was yesterday. Like, how the hell was I able to get out? And I think I was saved. And when you talk about the branches of the tree, about a year later, I was climbing a 20-foot tree, and I fell, and I went all the way down to the bottom, and not injured or nothing. I've flipped in cars at 75 miles an hour initially at 110, the tire blew out, the other one blew out, and I walk away with a light bruise on my knee. And I flatlined at the age of 25, and they brought me back, and I walked out of the hospital without permission or anything, and walked the streets of San Francisco at 110 degrees and burnt the shit out of my feet and so on and so forth. But I just can't believe how many times that I had near-death experiences, and it may have something to do with why, as we all kind of try to figure out why we know and they don't know kind of stuff. So I wonder if I haven't been saved, a number of times of really unbelievable situations. And I've got more than what I've shared with you, but that's very, very important. I thought Cynthia had brought that up in one of the lectures. I think the question and answer thing of that she didn't live in some people's timeline and so on and so forth. So I wonder, I
That's
don't know.
really
I wonder
cool
if we're
too.
all gathered.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if we're all here, like we all. I don't know. I don't know. Because when the Mandela that kills me is that we're halfway in the Milky Way galaxy. That doesn't make any sense. We're on the outskirts, so we're somewhere else, and our footage from NASA and such are not as captivating because of us being where we're located in the galaxy. I don't know. I just wonder whether we all did die, or if death is real, or what. Because it almost seems like all these people, like Cynthia, is an example that she didn't even exist, but she exists here. And maybe I didn't exist in many, many places, but I exist here. It's almost like, the 144,000, whatever it might be, we're here, in this different part of the galaxy. But I interrupted. You were saying something, Shane?
I was just talking about, it goes right along with what you were saying, is what the one whistleblower with Project Looking Glass was saying is that there was this convergence of timelines, that they were all converging down to a single timeline around 2012. And that's kind of strange the way she just popped on the scene. It's like, so if you got all these different timelines and maybe she didn't exist in 90% of them, but they all collapse down, she's going to end up existing again. You know what I mean? So it's like, so all these people are coming back in. Maybe they didn't make it on this timeline originally, but then they pop back on the scene because we need all of these people, especially people like Cynthia Sue Larson, or like my guest yesterday, Paul, who are scientific, yet they're willing to go into the spiritual realm and sort of make this connection between science and spirituality, because it's all connected. When you get in there and you see like Dr. Dean Radin's work, or there's a bunch of people that sort of delve on this fringe, what they consider fringe science, and they're beginning to make these connections. Then you got people like Greg Brayton, like you mentioned earlier. He's really bringing out what consciousness is all about. So this stuff is really all connected, and it's I think. Well,
and not to forget my biggest hero, not Jesus Christ, like yourself.
Oh Jesus Christ.
However, but aside from that, Dr. Emoto, a very leading edge on the water, and how, if you look into the studies and why they never made it science, is because they sent it to one laboratory who was notorious for making mistake after mistake after mistake. They wanted this not to come out as proof that blessing water can change the structure and change the dynamics of whatever it's in, if you will. So Dr. Emoto, another huge one for me personally, because of his work with water and the structure of it.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I love you, brother. I wanted to.
All right, brother.
Yeah, time. I'm killing you, I'm sure.
No, man. I always enjoy our conversations. Yeah. Please don't forget to post that link in though, so people that can go that specific video you were talking about the pond and the birds and all that. I'd love to see that.
I haven't uploaded it. I haven't uploaded that one. I'll upload it right now. It's very cheap on to do, because it's only 1 minute long. Most of my videos are 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes long, and it'd be too expensive on my data line, if you will. So I'll be able to do that for you. But it'll be, again, it's just Roger Prescott and has my tree symbol, or And
Right.
yeah, people will be able to get to it. But the thing is, if I may, though, as I repeat myself, then the second set of birds fly up, and right before one goes out of view on the upper right-hand side, that's the last bird, that's when the thing comes soaring through. You can clearly see it, but it is so fast. Is it a bug? Is it this? Is that? If you zoom in and you freeze frame it and you take a photograph, it is very, very peculiar, very, very peculiar, and so that I just want to offer that as a second statement again to what you're looking for, because it probably can be missed if you're not, sure of where it is and what it is. So it moves from the right, upper right, to the bottom left kind of thing, and into the woods. So yeah,
Perfect.
I'll post that up, and hopefully you enjoy it.
I will,
Love you,
man. I
brother.
appreciate you. Love you too, buddy. Have a good one.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Love Roger Prescott and the work he does. Make sure you go over and subscribe. I think somebody posted his link. If you guys can maybe post it in there again, one of the mods, that'd be awesome. So anybody just joining can stick it in there. Okay, so I wanted to build on what Roger was saying about the work of Dr. Emoto and the effect of water, because I don't know, we were talking about these downloads and information, epiphanies. So there was this one thing that came to me where it just occurred to me that even within every single group, our community probably deals with things like this too, but with our effect on water and how it affects other people, it was shown to me that even if, like I might be sitting outside of a convenience store and maybe one of my kids run in to get something, and I can look over the car next to me and I see that person sort of watching someone go in and sort of judging them and looking at them like maybe they're disgusting or whatever. They're just sitting there judging. They're not treating the person mean outwardly. They're not saying anything, but just in their mind. And how much, we all probably do this from time to time where we just judge somebody. And with everyone being 2/3 water, somebody can go into public like that, and whatever they have, whatever issue they have that everyone's judging them for, everyone's affecting the water. 2/3 of what their makeup is being affected by everyone's consciousness and intentions around them, just judging them and sending bad vibes at that person because of whatever reason. Maybe their clothing, or maybe they're homeless, or maybe, their weight, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And it's like they're sitting there and they're getting bombarded by all of the negative vibes of the people around them, and it's only making them feel worse. And even within your own home, you might have a spouse that maybe you get along outwardly with them, but secretly in your mind you're sitting there thinking, oh gosh, they're just blah 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 blah, whatever it is, maybe they get on your nerves or whatever it is, but you're sitting there and you're bombarding their water with this negative energy. And it was shown how there needed to be a shift in human consciousness within. I mean, not just, it's not right to bully people, of course, outwardly, but even bullying people in your mind and judging people in your mind is still sort of spreading this negativity around. And how if everyone could sort of get their thoughts in check, we could have a huge difference just in the way, just looking at someone with compassion and being non-judgmental, because so often we do that. We judge people, and we are actually we're not sending out love out of our heart, which is the most powerful organ as far as, putting out this electromagnetic energy, these frequencies that we put out. And, if there was really a change of heart in the way what people are thinking in their mind and how people judge people just within their mind, strangers and family and friends alike. It could be someone in your family that you're just, you're fed up with them not getting it or something, or maybe they're just asleep and you're just like, oh gosh, why are they still asleep? And so you're sending like negative vibes. But if you just love them where they're at, say, you know what, I was that way at one point, or maybe you weren't, but you can say that you could have been there, and just realizing that, just having this view that everyone's where they're at on their journey, and just love them where they're at. you know, and that could make a huge, huge difference with how people are feeling, and just changing the actual chemical makeup structure of the water, 2/3 of what they're made up of. And anybody who doubts that, go look at the work of Dr. Emoto. We do affect, I mean, you can do the rice experiment is another one. Truth Stream Media did that. You can go look up their video, Truth Stream Media, and look up their rice experiment. You can look up just rice experiment, and you'll find a number of people who have done this, where they have 3 jars of rice, and one of them they say, I hate you to it every day, and sort of send hate to it. The other one they send love to it. And then there's one that's sort of the control, that they just neglect it. They don't pay any attention to it. And then out of the 3, you can see the one that was sent the love is preserved the longest. After a month's time, the other 2 will look like they're molding. The hate one will look extra moldy. But I mean, it's very much science. There's nothing woo-woo about it. I mean, go check it out. And once you see that, then you realize, like, whoa, wait a minute, everybody's made up of water. How much are we affecting other people? So something to think about. Nobody on the horn right now. Let me see, I got a late start, so we do have another, I don't know, 10 minutes or so if anybody wants to call in and share your thoughts. I guess I'm done with my water rant for now. Or we can put on some wing makers. It's up to you. Let's see here. So glad you caught us, Nicola Simpson from the future. Nicola is in Australia. Hasn't slept in 39 hours. Poor you. You need to get some sleep. Can't wait to have you on to talk about crystals, too. It's been over a year since we talked about doing that. I know you want to be ready, but I know a lot of people are into the crystals, and I'm kind of, whenever it comes to astrology or crystals or any of that stuff, I've never really dabbled with it too much to know anything about it. But I do understand, you know, from the time I was little and I had a Casio quartz watch, I understood quartz. Yeah, I understand, even in electronic school, you learn about piezoelectric and how you get the spark. You know, some of those lighters that click, clicky lighters, are using a crystal in there that gets compressed and creates that spark, puts off a little bit of energy. So as woo-woo as that sounds, that crystals can put out energy, or that some of these crystal skulls around the world that are supposedly hidden can actually hold information. It's not too far-fetched at all. In fact, it's very plausible that these crystals hold energy. I was just talking with the Twin Flame Divine Fire radio people. Sandra was telling me about how, they do a lot of crystal healing and stuff like that. And they actually they'll see the stones get discolored as they pull energy off of people and things like that. And it will actually affect the way the stones look. They'll begin to look darker or blemished looking. And they showed me, I saw with my own eyes. So I know that they're doing something. So anyway, I do love the whole idea of 40 hours now. 40 hours no sleep. Are you hallucinating yet? You're getting into hallucination territory easy. Probably seeing orbs and shadow beings and stuff like that. And then the water is very healing as well. We had Jamie, longtime viewer. I think he's been a subscriber since before I even had 100 subscribers, and I love Jamie because he goes around and he finds these channels that are super small, less than 100 people, and he'll share them with me and make me aware of them, because there's a lot of channels out there that just nobody knows about them, And I've noticed a lot of the smaller channels are actually pretty great people that have a lot to say, and they haven't really, either they've been suppressed or they just haven't been put out there very much. You can see my channel growth has came to a grinding halt, but hey, look at the upside. No trolls. So I'm not complaining. It's all working out perfectly. Let's see. Gonna go back to the phone lines. 360 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hi, it's Feisty Kitty.
Hey, how is it going, Feisty Kitty?
It's going great. How about you?
Wonderful. It's nice to be able to put a face with a voice. Since
So,
I got to
I
meet you in
have good
Eddie
news.
Seti. Yeah, let's hear it.
Right. Well, you remember Mary Ann from ECETI also?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, she is now living with me because she was having a really rough go of things down in L.A. And so we adopted her.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I was just talking to Atsuko, and she said she got to meet with Mary Ann and Renee over the last few months or something like that. So that's really cool that you guys are still getting together and seeing each other.
Yeah, things went really bad for her. I think that it was the universe trying to nudge her out of California.
Mm-hmm. You're in Arizona, right?
I'm in Washington. I have the joy of living near ECETI.
Oh, nice. That's really nice, though. So I think this coming year, I would love people to get on the website, get on the forum, and start having these get-togethers, because it just thrills my heart that people came together on this channel and they continue to hang out and continue to meet up. And now we've got, you're able to help Marianne out, and, just people connecting through this little hub here that I'm so honored to be a part of. And it means a lot to me.
All you, yeah, because if it weren't for your show, we would have never known each other.
And if you guys didn't take part in it, you can see how it's like all this well-oiled engine like that came through on that session. It's like everything's really working, and it's like, pay attention. It's right in front of you.
Yeah, it has been throwing things right in front of us. And after the experience that my son and I had at that trip to ECETI, when we both got to see the Merkaba float across the field, and it came right up probably 10 yards maybe from the car.
Mm-hmm.
It just blew him like wide open. He is manifesting things so fast now. It just, I mean, I can't even wrap my head around it.
Isn't it crazy how much faster things are happening for this younger generation?
It is. I mean, his whole music career has just blossomed, and his band has taken off. They've been working with people now who have, famous bands from all the way back to like the 90s.
Right.
They want to work with them, and it's just really going nuts. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'm so glad so before that he wasn't really into any of the spiritual stuff too much?
No, he had never really had any experiences. I mean, he believed in it too. He believed that people believed that they saw the things that they saw, but now he's seeing them, and now it's happening to him. And he was just like, I had no idea. There's so much more to life than I ever. I mean, we can make it whatever we want. And he's just so happy. He attributes all of it to that trip to ECETI.
It's wonderful.
And that experience, meeting all you guys, and he's trying to recruit his friends to go there and have experiences. So yeah, this is awesome.
It really is. I remember when we all got together at that, I think they call it the Pleiadian wheel out there, and we all gathered hands, and the moment we all grabbed hands and raised them up, the wind started blowing real strong, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so freaking cool. I put that clip in the highlight video because it was such a cool experience to feel the wind picking up and feeling like, all of our higher selves were like, celebrating it and sending us a gust of wind at that moment.
And I mean, when we were all holding hands, I had goosebumps.
Yeah,
so big they almost hurt. I mean, it was incredible. The energy going around in that circle.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And seeing the Bigfoot print as my son and I were walking up to the circle with our peanut butter and banana sandwiches for for Bigfoot, you know.
Right.
I mean, there was a fresh print right there, right near the Palladian Circle. It was crazy.
Yeah, and I think Shiny got goosed or something by
Yes,
a
she
baby
did.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, she got to see the whole family and had a little, what was it, a little elf guy who was riding on her foot.
Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so wild.
getting a foot ride.
Yeah, and Michelle M3 had her experiences there too. So there was a number of people that I wish I would have had a Bigfoot one. I thought I did. One night I got up and there was nobody up. It was the first night actually. I was out filming and I heard something walking. I'm like, oh my gosh, I see something walking. I thought it was like a little group of Bigfoot or something, but it ended up being a couple of deer. But yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of deer there.
Mm-hmm. But I thought I was going to get it that night. But I could definitely feel the presence around. I got to see a lot of cool stuff on the mountain, and so I definitely had my experiences. But a lot of people had a lot of really cool things happen to them out there.
Yeah, you know, and it almost seems like if you go when there's not such a great big crowd, I mean, it was great that everybody was there and we all got to meet. But it seems like when there's a little bit smaller of a crowd, the experiences are a little more, I guess, I don't know, with Bigfoot, they seem to come around more.
Right. There's probably a lot of people that get freaked out and they know that they'll just be too fearful. Because a lot of the experiences came for people that went out in really small groups, like, 4 or 5 people or something, and then they'd have an experience, or it was just a couple of people and they'd have an experience. But that second night when everybody had the experience after the rain, I stayed up the entire night the night before, and I just crashed. I mean, I was so tired because I wanted to get the sunrise. The sky was clear, and I'm like, what if it's cloudy tomorrow? And it did get cloudy, but it ended up clearing up again. So.
Yeah, I was thinking about going out there when I saw everybody dancing in the circle when they disappeared, in the little plasma. Their flesh started to disappear, and
yeah,
I thought about going out there, but we had just gotten so with the big storm that we were just sitting in the car with heater on trying to warm up.
Right. That's actually where I fell asleep, was in the car. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a river running through our tent, so
yeah.
I got all up and hopped in the car and turned on the heater.
Yeah, it was pouring so much, and I was like, I'll just wait for it to die down. And like I said, I hadn't had any sleep, and that rain, the sound of that rain hitting the car was so, I don't know, just...
It's a strong sedative.
Yeah, it is. Especially going into no sleep.
Rain, yeah, it knocks me right out.
Yeah, I love it. So peaceful. So yeah, I don't know if...
I mean, I just thought that everybody would maybe like to hear the news. I know that Marianne had been in contact with some people, and people knew that she was having a rough go of it, so she's all safe now. She's got a brand new family and all kinds of critters, and
that's awesome.
Walking on cloud 9 now.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's the weather been like up there?
It has not stopped raining.
Oh, okay. So it's probably warmer then. You're getting some of that Pacific wind coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, make sure you send...
I'm going to put Marianne on the phone for a second.
Yeah, let me talk to her. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Here, you take it. Happy Friday, guys.
Happy Friday. How are you? Yeah, here you go.
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. I love it here in Washington. Love it.
That is
I'm so
cool.
grateful to be here. It's so beautiful. Yeah. I got my starseed sister here. Oh, I'm in heaven. Heaven. I don't want to ever go back to California again.
Yeah. I've never been to California, but I haven't really wanted to go too much. I've seen enough on TV. So
I say go with that. Yeah, no doubt. I think California's I think California's got a rough road ahead of it, that's for sure.
Oh, no doubt. Me too. Yeah, I'm so glad you got to meet with Atsuko while you're out there. She texted me some pictures. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. You guys are getting together. I love the fact that I see people getting together that met on the channel.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
freaking cool to
everything
me.
happened on your show, Shane. If it weren't for you, Shane, oh my goodness, I would have never met all these wonderful people. It's just amazing. I can tell you, after a SETI, my life has just been a roller coaster, and I just connected with so many people, and so many amazing things have happened to me, and you know, it's just getting better and better and more wonderful, and the manifestations are just getting incredibly fast. I'm just amazed that it really works.
Yeah.
Manifestation really does work. It really does. And I've met so many amazing people through you and on the show, and it just seems like my life has just changed so dramatically, and I can't thank you enough, Shane. I really can't. You've had such an impact on me and my life. You really have, and I'm so grateful for you and everything that you do, because otherwise I'd probably still be sitting at home thinking I was crazy, and I probably still would have never left the house. Yeah.
Well, you just telling me that, it just touches my heart so much. You have no idea how, you know, it just touches my heart. So I appreciate that. I'm so glad people, and I want that to be an encouragement to other people to get on the website for them, and it's free. You just sign up, get on there, and then if you want to organize a get-together in your area, I don't have to be there. I mean, just use it as a hub to, you know, go to a coffee shop or something like we did here in Tulsa and get to know people around you, because it does help not to feel so alone, you know.
Oh, I agree. It's made such an impact on my life. I feel like I'm just a whole new person. Yeah, I mean, to actually connect with other people, you know, that are going through what we're going through, or just even have the same perspective. It's just, you know, it does wonders for the soul and the heart. It really does, because I think a lot of us, you know, we were in that darkness and sitting there going, you know, all alone, just thinking we were crazy and not understanding these things. And it's so nice to have a forum to have other people to reach out to and to connect with, and say, hey, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. You know, and it was like at a SETI, it was like it's like I finally had affirmation from people telling me, you know, did you see that? You know, and like, yes, I saw that, and it's green and it's blue, and, you know. Did you feel that? Right. You know?
Right.
It's so nice to have an eyewitness, you know, to your accountability.
Yeah.
You know, it's been wonderful. But I've made so many amazing connections through you in the show, and I mean, I feel more connected to you guys than I ever have to any childhood friend. That's for sure. You know, it's coming together with like-minded people. You know.
Yeah, it's like a divine get-together or divine gathering of like-minded souls and loving people. It's wonderful.
It is, and it's like now I feel like, you know, we all met in your show, and now we're kind of moving on to like phase 2. You know, we're kind of we're making these connections and these bonds with other people, and now we're putting together plans, and you know, and we're starting to you know branch out into other things and other events, and I just love seeing people get so involved and getting excited, and you know, it's so amazing. I just can't wait to see what's next, you know?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yep, having that excitement of realizing that the possibilities are really limitless, you know, and it's like we put all these limits on things, but it's really limitless, because I've never thought I'd be here, you know. I've already exceeded where I thought things would go, so I'm thankful, I'm honored, and and I think, you know, these people that come together here, they go out and find other people in their own way, and it's like, wow, I helped set all that in motion, and I feel honored. I feel so honored is really the only word I can think. Just blessed to be a part of it.
Be a big part of this journey. Yeah. I mean, it's hard, you know, it really is hard to get people to, you know, it's hard, I think, for people to talk about this stuff. You know, it really is.
So much programming.
And I think it's hard for men too. And it's nice to see that more men are coming out and coming public and sharing, you know, their feelings and this information. And you know, because I know it's difficult. It's nice to hear a male's perspective, and I know I think it's hard for men to share their feelings, especially and admit to some of these things that they're experiencing and seeing. And I think you give them this forum to do that, where they're comfortable and they feel safe to do that. And
you're setting a good example.
Yeah, you are.
I'm in touch with my
and
feminine
it's great.
side too. Yeah.
Right.
Because
We have-
a lot of
yeah.
times it's sort of suppressed within the male population. But it's really no accident because after my parents split up, I was with my mom and my sister through most of my teenage years, and then I had 5 kids. But guess what? My first 4 were girls, so I was in a house full of girls for a long time. My son just turned 13; he's the youngest.
So
But-
you have a very good view of the female perspective on things, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
oh my goodness. But yeah, I mean, it's just great to have a forum here to discuss anything and everything, and it's respected, whether we agree with it or not. But I just love having this forum to discuss the woo-woo topics, and hearing where everybody's at and what their perspective is. And, it's kind of like we have everybody's got a little puzzle piece,
Yeah.
And
Just like Biker Babe was
everybody's got a
talking
piece.
about.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's just neat to have a place to share our information and try to figure it all. It sure is fun to try to figure this stuff out,
It is.
But
Yeah.
we have to remember that it's okay that we don't have all the answers. It's okay. And I
Yeah.
think we get too caught up in that sometimes. We all want to figure it out. But half the fun is just trying to figure it out. I think these topics are just fascinating. I can't get enough of them.
Yeah,
I
I'm the
just
same way
love
too.
going down
Yeah.
the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Mandela effect is never ending.
I know. That's so
And
wild.
I find the Mandela effect is a great platform to use with the public to open up a conversation and kind of plant a seed and kind of walk away. Because I know you have to be real gentle with the public, baby steps with them. So because you don't want to scare them away, but you want to help everybody. You want to share your information, but not everybody's there yet, and we have to remember that, because I feel like I don't want to scare people off and traumatize them and turn them off completely, because you can't shove it down their throats, that's for sure. But as much as we'd like to, sometimes.
I'm going to enlighten you whether you want it or not,
Right.
Hit them over the head with an enlightening rod or something.
Right. It's like you want everybody to wake up, but I get why we're kind of waking up in waves, because if we all woke up at once, we'd probably, with those energies, we'd probably kill each other.
Well, yeah, that and somebody's...
It would be too much. It would be too much. I mean, I get that. Yeah.
Well, somebody was saying that a lot of people freaking out about the Mandela effect, and then they go and tell people about it, and people just immediately are like, well, I don't want to freak out the way you're freaking out about it. So I'm glad that I could sort of help people at least look at it in more of a positive light. That way, when you approach somebody, it's not like, oh my God, look what's happening. It's like, wow, look at what's happening. It's a completely different approach. And then you're like, wow, what is happening? Oh, wow, that is happening.
Yeah, as far as I know, the Mandela effect hasn't killed anybody yet, so I think we're okay.
Right.
It really is a great conversation. It is a great opener for a conversation to what are these anomalies and what do they mean? And to get people to realize, because people make excuses that these things are just, all in their head, or they're just remembering wrong, or they're getting senile, but they're not. But yeah, that's the real tricky part, is to not get them scared.
Yeah,
But
I was thinking of
I do
Feisty
see a
Kitty.
lot of-
What Feisty Kitty just said, and it's like, wait a minute, it's actually brought people back from the dead rather than kill people, right?
Yeah, no, exactly what I was thinking right when I said it.
I know, it's so true. It's so true. And I actually used the Mandela effect recently with somebody who hadn't heard it. And I had a great conversation with an acquaintance, and this person is just recently woken up a little bit, and they're going down all the rabbit holes with the government and things, and so they understand aliens and clones, and they're in the fear mode right now. And they even told me that they've been really scared. So I tried to quash that a little bit, and I brought in the Mandela effect with them, and they were so open to it, and which was great. And so I was trying to navigate them in a little bit of a different direction away from fear, and just to get them to view it as just an anomaly that's worth investigating and looking into, and that it's nothing to be scared of. But it's difficult. It really is. It's hard to get people out of that fear mode. It really is.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
shakes you up
but,
because when you have that 100% thing that like you just there's no
Oh,
doubt in
yeah.
your mind. It can shake up your
Right.
world.
Right, and when people realize that their reality is crumbling and it's not what they think it is, yeah,
Subject to change.
they're in that mode, and it's hard to get them out of that. Because I remember being there too. I was there. I was scared, but
But it actually flips the script when you think, well, if this is a benevolent force doing this, then they can change reality in my favor right before my eyes, and nobody would even know that. No, it's always been like there wasn't a truck about to run you over. What are you talking about? The road's been empty.
Right. As a matter of fact, I think it was when I started listening to your shows that I got past the fear, because up until that point, I was just kind of.
You know what?
You're
right.
I was still in the.
Kind of, yeah.
When I realized what the cabal and the Illuminati and what what they were doing,
right?
How dark it was,
and I was just kind of, I was freaking out a little bit, and then I found your show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's really what took the fear away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did.
Was listening to how it's all perspective, and you manifest things. So if you're going to manifest from a fear-based emotion, then you're going to get more ugliness.
Right. So does it come from fear or does it come from love?
Yeah.
Right. Fear or love.
Just like Sherry was saying in the beginning. Yeah, that's so true.
And I wanted to say hi to Sherry. Hi, Sherry. I love you. And Port Sup and Sherry and Eileen.
I miss everybody. I haven't been in the chat in so long.
Yeah, Rita's
I
here.
miss our career.
Rita, yes, hi.
Trying to see other people from that you met in person. I was trying to see here.
Yes. That was, so many amazing people. Just wonderful people.
Yeah, so many gifts. I still have all my rocks that people gave me.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, I still have all my little gifts. I love them.
I feel like I'm starting like this new life with my new family and my new friends, and it's a whole new me. It's like Marianne 6.0. I just love it. I just love it.
Her little light is shining so bright now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I gotta wear shades.
Yeah. But it's really neat. I watched people grow on your show, and it's neat to see people grow and evolve and watch them go through their ascension and spiritual process. And it's just amazing to see how far people have come just within months. Months.
Go look at my first video. I'm like embarrassed to leave it up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so stressed out and stuff, but I leave it there because it's a good testimony of like how far I've come with even myself. I mean, we're all growing together, which is beautiful, and we help each other. And I've grown so much from people leaving a comment saying, hey, have you ever heard of Greg Braden? No, I haven't. Let me go check him out. Wow. And so it's very much a reciprocal relationship with everyone, and I'm growing right along with everyone else. So it's been a life changer for me too,
Yeah, I tell you, I would have never thought in a million years something like this would be happening to us. Never.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like we're superheroes in a way, It's so amazing.
That's why people say, what happened to the shift or the event? I'm like, dude, it's happening for me,
Well,
Pay attention, look around,
Exactly. Everybody's like, when? But it's like, it's happening right now. We're experiencing it right now.
Yeah, it's not going to be like in a flash. It'll look like that afterwards,
It's kind of like, you don't see how fast your child is growing. When they go away for a little while and they come back, it's like, wow, you've grown. You don't realize it because you're right there and in the moment. But it's everything is happening right now. And,
and
sure.
just
But
learning that is
I just can't wait to see what's next. I want to know what's next. I just can't wait. I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. I really am. And like I said, what's interesting is when I first started watching your show, the moment you mentioned Asceti, for some reason I was like obsessive about it.
The first time I watched this show,
and he
mentioned Asceti, and I've been trying to find people to go to Asceti with me, and I couldn't.
It was, I think Spirit was really leading me,
mm-hmm.
And guiding me.
wanted me there because and for obvious reasons, I've made so many connections because look where I'm living now.
Well, and yeah, Unbiased and On the Fence things kept popping up on my feed for YouTube, you know. It was like, hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. Yeah. And finally, I was like, okay, fine, I'll check it out. What? You think I should see it? Let's see it. And you were talking about having a meet and greet at 8:30, and I thought I was going to pee.
But I knew I had to be there somehow. But somehow, my gut, my guides, and all of that, and synchronicity, it came in so strong for me to go to a SETI. I mean, I knew I had to be there. It was so important for me to be there, and for obvious reasons. I mean, my goodness, I have made so many wonderful friends and connections, and just where my life led me, my circumstances, I needed to move, and I have a new family now because, I don't have anybody. I don't have any family. I really don't have, or I didn't have family. I'm an only child. My family's all deceased, and what friends and acquaintances I did have in California are deceased. So, I mean, I was really kind of isolated and alone, and I tell you, if I hadn't reached out, I'd still be sitting there all alone. I would, but I'm just amazed at how fast everything's happened for me since Lionsgate, since August.
Yeah,
I mean,
the 8/8 Lionsgate.
I keep telling everybody, oh gosh, that was amazing. What's interesting is I get it now. How everybody talks about these energy sites, like the Palladian, field and these vortexes, and Stonehenge, and all these ancient places that our ancestors would go to. And I get it now. It makes sense to me of why they all gathered at these sites to channel and to I guess come in these gatherings to do what they do. And now I get why they did that in these places. It makes sense because, like at Lionsgate, when that portal opened up, oh my gosh, amazing things were happening. Those, to me, when those events take place, it's like it enhances your channeling, is what I find. It does. You can, and now I get why our ancestors did that, and they met up at those places and did those things. It all makes sense now. It's kind of funny. It's like everything now is making sense.
That's so true. I don't know how many. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, there's a big delay there. I don't know how many. You watch these indigenous people doing these rituals and stuff, and you're like, man, that's so outdated. What are they doing? And do they really think they're doing something? And then you realize, you're like, wait a minute, I was the one that needs to learn something here,
Right. But it's true. Like, it's everything that our ancestors did it just all makes sense now of what they were doing and what was happening and what was going on. And it's just, yeah.
It just makes you really want to make sure you follow your heart from here on out. When you feel that pull, like, why do I feel like I need to go to this event? Now you see, I mean, it's snowballed into something grander than you could have ever imagined,
Exactly. And it came to me when I needed this the most because, I was in a situation where, I didn't have a home.
Yeah, it's quite literally life-changing.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, I'm so grateful. But it's true now. It was like that pull, like you were saying, this overwhelming pull that I had, and now I know to listen to the intuition and to listen to those things and the synchronicity, So now that I'm all aware of it, I pay attention now. That's and what a difference when you pay attention.
Oh yeah,
things
I know.
start to happen.
And the big thing that I'm noticing now is, like, the next step beyond that I've learned is that the higher your vibe is, the more you can, just keep your vibes up, the better that intuition is. And the more you're in the moment and the more that you're getting information. Because I know a lot of times you go through these lulls where it seems like nothing's happening and you feel stuck and you're like, what's wrong? And then, that just gets you more and more out of the frequency you need to be in. But if you can keep your vibes up, then you notice it starts flooding in again. So that was the big lesson that I'm kind of learning right now.
It's true, and that's half the battle. Like for me, and I think for a lot of people, is keeping that frequency up. And it's hard to be in that loving, happy state of mind when there's like chaos around you, or you have somebody that's just mean. If you have a big meanie in front of you, I mean, I get it. It's really hard, you know. But when you have like-minded people standing next to you, it makes it so much easier. It really does.
Yeah,
it really does.
You don't have to be alone.
Yeah. Yes,
Well, awesome.
I'm not alone anymore. This is what's wonderful, because I always thought, you know, I'm all alone. You know, I don't have anybody, no family, no nothing. But it's not true.
No.
It's not true. You know,
Even when you
have-
thought you
I
were
have
alone,
more-
it wasn't true. You've got all this cosmic and soul family looking out for you. You might not see them, but they're there, you know.
It's true, you know, and you know, I went back for a second trip, as you know. I went back in September for another trip to a city, me and Feisty.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was so wonderful. It was just even another amazing experience. I got to meet more people that, you know, are part of my family now, my Starseed family.
Mm-hmm.
And the second trip, you know, it was more intimate. You know, there was only about 40 of us there. So I had some one-on-one time with James, which was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one of those clearing sessions with the SETI. I had that done, and they did a little reading for me, and I found out. Let's see, I have a history of a Palladian in 5D where I was like in a council and administration. I had another life, they told me, where I was Syrian in 7th density, and I was like an explorer, and I was an explorer and on a council. And then I was told I was an 11th. I had a lifetime as an 11th density being, and he said it was Elohim, not Elohim, but it's Elohim was the pronunciation. James told me, and he told me that he didn't have any point of reference, you know, for it, and that I had to go meditate on it to find out, you know, more information of, you know, my people, so to speak. Which I just find stuff like that fascinating.
Oh,
but,
yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah, it is. He told me that he met another person where they were from the 13th, which I found fascinating. It's like, how high do they go?
Right.
Probably infinite. But it just makes you, you know, it's like every time you get like an answer to a question, it's just, you know, you just have 1,000 more. You know,
Right.
it's just, it's never enough. You know, it's like I have 1,000 more. But that was fascinating, interesting to find out from them. And they did a clearing on me, and they cleared some past life stuff, which was neat. So that was neat. But I want more. You know, I have so many more questions now.
Absolutely.
So like, what are the Elohim? Yeah, what is the Elohim? You know, he said that was how it was pronounced to him.
Wow.
But I don't know what it is. I haven't been able to find too much information on it, other than I'm an 11th, and I'm pink. I had another Chandler tell me that they could see what I was, and they told me that I looked pink, and I had like not like an octopus, but I had like pink like tentacles coming out from me.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow.
it was interesting because I've seen myself in my light body. I've had an out of body experience, and I've seen myself, and I'm pink. And I recently, a few months ago, I had a meditation dream where I looked just like what this other Chandler had told me what I looked like from 11th. And she was right. I have like these tentacles or flowing, I don't know what it is, but I looked just like that, and I was huge. And I was looking down at the earth. Like, it was like the earth was like almost like in a terrarium or something. I don't know. But it was so shiny and beautiful and pretty, and I was just this huge pink octopus-looking thing just looking in on it. It was a strange dream, but it was neat. It was really neat because, you know, it felt like it was me, you know.
Yeah.
But I've had so many dreams, Shane. Oh my goodness, I've had so many dreams where I've had a lot of dreams with the giants. I've had a dream where I was a giant, like an angelic type, that had wings, and there was some sort of like event. I don't know if it was the solar flash from years ago. I have no idea, but there was fire coming down from the sky, and I spread my wings and I spread them open and I grabbed as many of the people that I could so I could protect them from what was happening. And yeah, it was interesting. I've had so many dreams where I was a giant like that. I had another one where I was this giant, a little bit shorter than the angelic one with the wings, and I was a lady. I had red curly hair up, and I was overlooking. I was in like my home, and it was so beautiful. It looked like, I guess like the Roman type, the big. Everything was stone and beautiful and white, and everything was vibrant. The flowers and the plants and everything was just beautiful. And we were overlooking the balcony, and I could see the ocean. And a couple of the people were walking up towards me, and I remember they were laughing about something, and I was asking them, "What's so funny? What are you guys laughing about?" And then I woke up. I didn't get much, but the people I remember in that lifetime were they were very simple-minded. They weren't. And they looked at the giants as gods, and they treated us as gods. That's what I remember in that lifetime reincarnation dream. And we were teachers and healers among the people, but there was a hierarchy it was kind of a slave society. It was like that in those days. And I remember the people were interesting looking. They were they had black hair, and there weren't white or light people. It seems to be like a co-communion of many different beings there in this one dream. But the people had black hair, kind of like the blunt, short hair, like the Egyptians. But the way they looked was interesting. It was like a combination of, I don't know, maybe Polynesian and Greek and Egyptian, kind of like all wrapped up into one. They were very unique looking, which I found fascinating. But it's just funny how we remember so much detail in our dreams, isn't it? It's just amazing. It just feels like you're there. I all these dreams and visions I've had. I mean, it feels like yesterday, and it feels so real, and like that was me in that lifetime. I mean, it really feels like that, and it's just amazing.
It really is. I think the next step really for a lot of people, and I've seen it sort of trending around, if you will, through the consciousness. I like to think of it like that. And it's going out of body, having these experiences where you have lucid dreams and then you go out of body, and then, we begin to explore and maybe even have meetups out of body, and how cool would that be? You know what I mean?
Right. Right. It's like, okay, guys, let's meet for coffee, and, right. And our dream, right. I mean, it's true. You can do anything in dream state. It's just, I know, but I love hearing other people's dreams, and because it's like everybody kind of has a little piece to the puzzle, and I find it's funny where some people, they have shared lives and shared dreams. I met these two sisters on my second trip to a city. Amazing gifts. This one lady, she can channel anything. She went into a meditation for me, and she literally told me, she goes, "Okay, who do you want to talk to first, Marion?" They're all lined up. She goes, "There's a line." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" She goes, "No, there's a line," because obviously all my family is deceased, and she could just tap in like that, which was amazing. And so I got some amazing information. But what was interesting was her and her sister were telling me these stories. I guess they had past lives together. And they remembered one of them was like was a soldier, and the other one was a little girl. And she remembers her sisters coming from the back of her and grabbing her head and literally slitting her throat. And she remembers it and feels it. And which was amazing, and she remembered everything, and she said that oh God, I was losing my train of thought. But these two sisters did have a past life together, and she remembers dying, and she remembers how it felt and everything, and she even told me that she showed me a scar that she had in her throat, which I thought was really kind of trippy, because she has like this little like birthmark or something right there in her throat. where I guess she would have been cut in that past life. But it's funny, those two would joke around, like, you killed me, you know. But it's just amazing for them to have memories like that, you know.
Yeah, it really is. I love the kids that do that too. You know, the kids that come in and they have these memories, and it's like, dude, they wouldn't have been able to know the name of this and this and this if this wasn't real. You know, nobody could have coached a little kid to have these memories. One of our guests, Sherry and I had on, their little kid remembered this war and parts of the plane that people just don't know the name of. And it was like rock solid proof that he lived this other life, and he got to go meet some of the people that he was with were like really old men, and he got to go meet them and he remembered them and stuff. I'm like, what? That's just so crazy.
That
so
is
it's
amazing.
really cool.
I know. And what's so fascinating is you see how our lives are all intertwined. You know, we're kind of reliving our lives like the same people, you know, and just in a different way. It's funny, like somebody might be in your life as your sister, but in the next life, you know, that person could be your mother, you know, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I find very interesting. But it seems like when I hear these people's dreams, it seems like, yeah, we have this kind of connection and with a certain group of people, and we're kind of reliving our lives over and over again with the same group of people, which I find interesting.
Yeah, learning lessons.
Yeah. Yes. And playing out our karma, so we have the opportunity to kind of clear your karma with these people.
Yeah.
But
and we do that in games and stuff, you know. There's video games where you do these role-playing games, and you go in there and you do that, and it's really not much different, you know, except just more drawn out, more painful, I guess, because the pain's real. But you know, looking back on it, I'm sure, you know, I don't know.
It's the pain, I know, and we have to. I know. People, the pain. That's the hard part for people. And I think once we can learn how to kind of forgive ourselves for all this stuff, then I think it makes it easier to kind of forgive the person sitting next to you, you know. And that's the hard part, is the forgiveness and letting go for people.
I know.
No doubt.
Even for ourselves, forgiving ourselves for things too, you know.
Yeah, that's it. And I think once we learn how to kind of make peace with ourselves first, I think that's the first step, and it makes, you know, the rest easier. But boy, I sure do love, you know, all these reincarnation dreams with other people and listening to them and finding things out. And it's just fascinating, the lives that they've had in other lifetimes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and the things that they did, or they were, you know, they were a healer in another lifetime, or they were a Roman soldier. And, you know, it's like living history, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I just love this stuff. It's better than a movie. We don't even need to watch TV.
It really is.
All we have to do is close our eyes. Yes, no doubt. Well,
I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to call in, and I hope this encourages other people to, you know, have some get-togethers and meet some people around your area, and just get onto the website forum. Like I said, it's totally free. You just get on there and sign up, get the email.
Yeah, if you didn't scare him away with the octopus thing, because I don't know if I'd heard that, I don't know if I'd want to meet her.
Yeah, I look like an octopus, apparently. I'm a pink octopus. I don't know. But yes, reach out, guys. Reach out. Go into the chat room. Reach out. Take a chance. Take that leap of faith. I promise you, you won't regret it. Absolutely not. You know, we're all in this together. Where we go one, we go all.
Where we go one, we go all. That's right. We are one.
Yes.
Mary Ann and Feisty Kitty, I love you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to call in.
We love you too.
Alrighty. Love you too, honey. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That is so cool. Once again, if you get on the forum, right under the logo, you'll see login. If you click that, and you can actually sign up, and then you'll get an email sent to you. If you don't see the email right away, check your spam or bulk mail folder. It might have went into there, but you just simply open that email and then just click the link. It'll know that you didn't mess up putting your email in there. It lets the system know it's all automated. But if you have any problems, drop me an email. You can go to the contact page. uotf.net is the website, and you can get all of that done there, and start connecting up. That's what Atsuko was saying before, just a little bit ago, is that, you know, this is a year for unity and connecting, and a lot of people that feel alone, I mean, it just helps to have a little get-together where you go get coffee once a month, once every other month, something like that. And if you have a little group of people that can do that, exchange numbers, then you'll have somebody to talk to. I don't have to make it out to ever get together. I mean, you could do something in your neck of the woods, meet people, start connecting up. And it was also shown to me that when we come together like that, we make each other's light brighter. And this is how we're changing the world, one small relationship at a time. It really does work. I've seen it happen over and over again, and I'm so glad that Marianne and Feisty Kitty called in, because right there I've seen 4 examples today of, Marianne actually got together with Atsuko. That's when Atsuko sent me the picture, it was her and Marianne hanging out together, and then her, Atsuko and Renee got together and were hanging out together, and it just blows my mind. And way back when Megan came from New York and went all the way to California, and she met with Atsuko, so Atsuko's meeting with all these people. I really appreciate Atsuko. She's such a lovely person, and I try to get her on tonight, but she's got some video editing or something she needs to do. But we'll be back tomorrow night, you guys, Eileen and I, for the Power of One. And we'll put our power of intention together to make positive change in the world somehow. So lots of love, light, and unity to each and every one of you guys. And spread that love wherever you are. Spread that light. And let's change the world. Thank you again, Pamela. If you guys didn't see the video I put out earlier of Pamela's Dream Vision, be sure to check that out. It came out right before I went live. So you might have skipped over that notification to come here. But definitely want to check that out. Really, really cool. Love you guys. See you on the next one. Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.